Hey, welcome to Mr. News Art Class. It's wonderful to see your smiling faces. This lesson is the culmination of our series on observational drawing. So far, we have discussed shading, measuring, overlapping, texture, transparency, and using shading without outlines in order to create 3D forms. Today, we're going to put all of that together to draw this basket of fruit. So I'm going to be working from this printed sheet as a reference. If you want to print your own, I've got the link down in the description below. Or you could set up your own basket of fruit or bowl of fruit or flowers or whatever, vase of flowers, doesn't matter. You could set something up on the table in front of you to look at. The only difference is that in the measuring, if you're measuring from a photograph, you measure on the paper, and if you're measuring from life, you hold your arm out at arm's length. And that's the only difference. May as well go ahead and pick a place to get started. You might be wondering, where should I start? It doesn't matter. You just pick a place and you get started, right? So I might say, I'll start with the coconut. Coconut's a round circle. That's pretty easy. Where do I put it? I'm just measuring how wide that. Now I'm just kind of like pretending I can see through right here. You know, it's got this basket handle and this banana overlapping in front of it. But I'm just pretending I can see where, you know, how wide would the coconut be if I could see the whole thing. And then I'll just kind of plop that into place. That's how wide it would be. And I'll just go ahead and get started. Just measuring, laying out placement of objects. And like I mentioned just a minute ago, right, that's where the coconut is, but it's got this handle overlapping it. And so that handle is going to overlap it. It's going to cover part of it up. This handle is actually two little vines twisted around each other. But I'm just going to kind of get the basic overlapping first before I try to get the twisted nature of that. That's how far down it comes under the overlap. Okay. And so that's got some thickness to it, and then there's the second bit wrapping around, twisting around, and that overlaps in front of this side, but then it overlaps under, right? It's the twisted part. It goes over itself, then it goes under itself, you know. Anyway, I'm just, where I'm overlapping the coconut, I'm erasing that piece of the coconut, right? So it's just one little step at a time here. It's overlapping underneath that side. And it comes down at more of that angle. And then here, it goes wrapping under this little reed-like thingy. And so I'm just going one little shape at a time, looking to see where things overlap. And I'll come back and do shadows and highlights and shading and all that stuff after I get the basic placement of where all these different elements are. We've got the coconut, we've got the handle. Now I need to do this banana that overlaps. I need to do the bowl around. I need to do the next banana, the oranges, the apple, the lemons, the fabric, the basket itself, the weaving. It's a lot of stuff. So if I don't just jump right into it, I'm never gonna get it done. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. Whew, doggy, that took a while. Attention to detail has helped tremendously. Although, speaking of attention to detail, notice that I left some details out. A lot of times as an artist, your job is not to represent exactly what you see, but to choose what to represent and what to leave out. I could have taken the time to draw every single leaf of this rosemary. This is an herb here. I could have taken the time to draw every single tiny little leaf of that. There's two little fronds. One of them kind of comes up from right here behind this lemon and goes up this direction. The other one is kind of behind this lemon and the banana and comes up this direction. I could have chosen to draw those. I chose not to. Why did I choose not to? Sometimes as an artist, you have to make your choices based on how much time you have. Now, I know that for most of you watching this, just what I've done here would have taken you 30 minutes or longer, if not an hour or two, right? And even then, if you're a beginner level artist, you're not gonna get every little detail of every little, like this right here, this part of the basket where I was drawing every single little, like looking, not just like trying to draw weaving things, but looking at this particular weave, this particular reed or whatever, you know, these little bark, there's little strips of bark, right, that make up this basket. Every single one of these little strips, I was specifically looking at, like, this one here is this one here, and this one here is this one here, right? So like each one of these, like this one is this one. Attention to detail. But again, you gotta make considerations based on your ability level and how much time you have left. And so if you don't have the time to look at every single individual one, at least get the textural idea of it. And at least try to get sizes of objects comparatively correct. I took a little bit longer than I should have here on these bananas because I had accidentally made them too short. I had to go back and look and see that the tops of these bananas are higher up than the top of the coconut. And at that time in the video, I had only drawn this coconut and one banana, and the top of the banana was down here, level with the top of the coconut. And so I had to compare it and say, oops, no, I should pull that up. So I had to erase the tops of these bananas, redraw it up here, because proportionally that was supposed to have been higher than the coconut, right? And then that also changed the shaping and the direction that I made the handle coming up over the basket, because, you know, and I should have made it again even higher now that I'm looking at it again. Like this, where the top of this is, should be like I should pull the bottom of it up to that height. But I'm not gonna go back and erase and redo those things. I'm just saying, even this right here, I can go back and look and see, not everything is perfect. It's good. I'm pleased with it. I'm happy with the way it turned out. But not everything is going to be exactly perfect, and not everything is going to be exactly the way that it was in the original. And that's part of your job as an artist, is to figure out which ones of those details are important enough to spend the time on and which ones are not. For example, the bananas, going back to the bananas, I thought those were worth taking the time to make them larger, because proportionally the bananas are larger than that coconut, and I didn't want it to feel like I had miniature tiny little bananas, right? Also, because I knew that the size of those bananas was going to end up being relevant and affect the size of these other fruits over here. So anyway, that's a long story short. I could stop here. I could stop here and call it done and say, I have done an observational drawing, still life drawing of this basket of fruit. I'm done. Or I could go back in and shade and use value, which would take quite some time. Again, that's a decision you have to make as an artist. Do you have the time to do it? How long will it take? Do you see the difference in the values? Is it worth it to you to take that time to do that? So you decide how much time you have and how much effort you need to put into your picture. Okay, well, I'll be honest, I didn't finish. I've run out of time. But you can see how I've been taking my time to try to match values as I see them here. I got the coconut, I got the handle, I got some part of the basket, I got the bananas. I did not finish the rest of the fruit, the fabric, and the rest of the basket and the bowl. But just as an exercise in observational drawing and drawing, just seeing, measuring, looking at values, finishing isn't always the goal. Sometimes the goal is just to hone your skills, hone your eyes and your hands, and sharpen the saw, if you will. Just improve your ability to see things and draw what you see. I'm going to leave it here. I know I'm not finished, but I'm going to leave it here. And to be honest, I don't expect you to finish either. Just get done what you can do. Do your best with however much time you have. That's all anyone can ask. This lesson finishes our series on observational drawing, drawing what you see. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.